It's another action-packed episode of the Fancave, fangirls and fanboys. So glad you're here. Let's cut right to the chase here. Amy Chase, that is. That's right, we've got our THORrespondent here today to chat TV, movies, and of course the big news from the Thor comic. But first, the Muppets are coming back to our TV screens, and so is Agent Peggy Carter. The latest Crimson Peak trailer is out, and it's terrifying. The official Gem and the Holograms trailer is out, and it's anything but outrageous. And in keeping with the nostalgia motif, Adam Sandler's Pixels trailer sees retro video games going ham on planet Earth. Let's talk it out. So, hey ladies.
Hey, Corey.
That was totally the first time I did that intro and did not have to redo it over.
You're a pro. You're a pro.
I am.
Okay. By the last time, it was good.
Oh, thank
the
you.
First 12 were terrible.
You know, practice makes perfect,
Why
is
not?
what they say.
You should have practiced.
You know what? Martin believed in me. Can we just say that?
That's true. Martin did believe in you, but that was 3 weeks ago.
Things have changed since then.
Oh, Martin.
Martin.
Only you were here.
Wonder how he's doing.
Probably great.
Anyways, Amy, hi.
Hi.
Welcome to the Fan Cave.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I know Amy here from Metro Entertainment, the comic book shop here in Santa Barbara, where you've also met her coworker Mac on multiple occasions. So it was really fitting that eventually we would get Amy on the show. Amy, you're a Thor enthusiast.
I am. I'm absolutely a Thor enthusiast.
A Thor enthusiast.
I'm the general authority.
Hey!
Oh, that's better. That was way better.
That was
I couldn't think of a word that had Thor in it that sounded like it would work, so I just picked one
It's
that
all
had
good.
in it.
Yeah.
So good.
She's quick on her feet, that Kristen.
Yeah,
Let me tell ya.
So punny.
So we'll talk a little bit more about Thor and why we should care about Thor and what crazy thing has just happened in the Thor universe. I just hit my computer with my hand. Hey, in a little bit, but let's talk other things first. Hey, funny story though. I was on TV this weekend.
What?
Kind of.
Wait,
Not
real
yet.
TV?
I taped TV this weekend.
You taped TV. Good, because I could have watched it if it was live.
Yeah, no.
I had access to TV this weekend.
You did? Okay. Well, I'll let you know when it is live. I'm allowed to say very little about this. You know, they make you sign all these things that are like, you'll give us $1 million and your firstborn and like your left kidney. Do you have more than one kidney? Yeah, you have more than one kidney. Right? Okay.
You too.
The left one, definitely.
Well, I don't
the
know,
left one.
depending, unless you've already had to give your other one away.
No,
I don't know what
the last
deal
time
is.
I signed a non-disclosure agreement, so one left. But so, yeah, I can't really say a whole heck of a lot of it about it. But you guys, it was the coolest because for one thing, they like treated me like I was like a real like person who mattered.
As opposed to a
Did they
fake
have
one.
one of those snack tables with all the food on
Like
it?
craft services. They had, they didn't have as cool of one as like you would hope. Mostly it was to keep us from getting drunk because there was drinking involved in this TV show.
Chicken fingers?
They did not have chicken fingers. It was just like snack food. But they sent a driver to Santa Barbara to get me.
In what kind of car?
Well, here's the thing. It was like a Hyundai. He was telling me about it. He's like, it's a Hyundai, but it doesn't look like a Hyundai. And it has all these stuff, and it's like the seats recline like in like weird, like a recliner, not like in a normal like.
It was a Hyundai or a Kia, because Kias actually have that. I saw it on a LeBron James commercial.
Oh, well, this was a Hyundai.
Oh, okay.
This would be, I feel like those aren't names you really mix up.
Yeah, but the cars look similar, so that's why.
Fair. And it had all these like things where I could control stuff, but I didn't really touch them because I had a feeling I'd break it. But you know, yeah, they drove me down there, and that was kind of cool. And pulled up, and then it was like I walked inside. They're like, "Are you Corrigan? Okay." Put me in the makeup chair and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, oh my God. And she like pulls out my hair. She's like, okay, I'm going to do this. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then they're like, oh, we need you on set right now. And I'm like, oh my God. And so like, I've got like my hair like all out crazy and all this kind of stuff. Like, and I'm like, oh geez. And I'm walking around. They're showing how to like do this show and whatnot, what it's going to look like,
so cool.
how it's going to play out. And I'm like, oh my God, this is happening right now. Like, what is going on? Finally, like an hour later, they get me back into the hair and makeup thing and, fix me and all that jazz. And I'm just like, well, it was one of those things where it was like, it's so busy, like there's so many things you're doing and all that I wasn't even nervous. I didn't have like a minute to feel nervous.
I was going to say, because I know you were nervous. I was going to ask you, was like the treatment and the fact that it was go kind of quell your...
Exactly.
nerves?
I was like, it was just like, okay, this is just going. And let me tell you guys, I think as long as I don't give like everything that happened away, we're all good. I will say this, John DiMaggio, aka the voice of Bender on Futurama, of Jake the dog on Adventure Time, and many other things. I got to hang out with him for a while. He tried to teach me the hustle. It was unsuccessful.
How'd that go?
It was not a success. Not because I couldn't do it, but because he'd had like 3 drinks by this point. Oh. Was not hustling super well.
Can't hang, huh?
Can't hang. But I made like an offhanded joke about like white people at the beginning of this just because of something stupid that happened. He's then spent like every commercial break from that point forward speaking in Tracy Morgan voice. The entire rest of the show.
Well, as you do.
Yeah, Tracy Morgan became our like team spirit animal or whatever.
Wow.
And it was a delight. So it's supposed to air in July. So when that comes around, we'll mention it again. And if you guys want to see me make a fool of myself on the Sci-Fi Channel.
As opposed to doing it here.
Yeah, as opposed to here, where you see me do it every week.
All the time. But this is like high quality. We don't do hair and makeup
Yeah,
here.
definitely.
Yeah, no hair and makeup in here.
As previously said before we started, hair and makeup was not the first on our priorities for today.
Exactly. So that's pretty fun. And then afterwards, I got to go see New Kids on the Block, TLC, and Nelly.
Yeah, did they hologram in L?
They did not.
Okay. So they just were TNC, huh?
Yeah, they were TNC, and then they, like, I thought it was kind of cool. They didn't actually try to, like, have anyone in her place or hologram or anything like that. They just played her verses into things. Okay. So I was like, that's a good way to sort of honor her. Yeah. Also, let me tell you, Chili looks amazing. Like,
dude, every time she doesn't age, man. I'm telling you, that girl's she's a Highlander. She's a Highlander.
Her abs, like, are unreal.
They have to be painted. I refuse.
Yeah, no, and they were just.
Hasn't she had kids?
I don't know. That's a good question. Because remember, she was with Usher for a while, and then he cheated on her, right?
Yeah, but everyone with Usher has at least one kid.
That's a really good point. I hadn't thought of it that way. I don't know. If she has had kids, damn it.
Even if she hasn't, still, like...
Yeah, she's got to be in her 40s, right? Like,
dude, I can't even get abs, and I'm not that old yet.
I know.
But I also don't try, so maybe that's probably part of it.
And as we've determined, no one's paying us to do it, and it probably wouldn't motivate us either way.
Yeah.
But they were great, and, like, I was just, like, I was there with my friend Kay, who goes with me to all of my boy band concerts, and when TLC came out and they started playing, like, I think they did Creep first. And, yeah, and we, like, both, like, looked at each other, we're like, are you tearing up a little? I'm tearing up a little. Why is it? I can't contain it right now. I saw either Tegan or Sarah there outside. Big New Kids on the Block fans, apparently. Neil McDonough from Band of Brothers. Neil McDonough was in the audience.
Did you talk to him?
I did not. I wish. I was like trying to find like, okay, here's where he is compared to the stage. Where would I have to walk to try to find him? Because it was like...
How did you see him from where you were?
What happened was they like showed the audience like just a crowd shot. And like he was sitting there in the crowd. And I was like, that is Neil McDonough! Buck Compton!
I'm crying now. Because you were so close. You were so close. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That would have been... I couldn't even handle it. I'm getting goosebumps.
Like,
I couldn't even handle that.
Amy, here's the thing. We're obsessed with Band of Brothers.
Okay.
And
Amy,
Neil
have you
McDonough...
seen Band of Brothers?
Yeah.
I have not.
Okay. We'll have to fix this. We'll work on this.
Hey, guess what? Great opportunity coming up for you. June 6th is the anniversary of D-Day. And that's when you watch it.
Yep,
well, that's when I watch it. And I assume so does the rest of the world. But I don't know if that's like a thing or not.
I'm pretty sure
if you
it's a
have
thing.
cable, it'll... I mean, there's a 99.9% chance Spike TV will be showing it all day, so you can watch it there.
It's also on Amazon Prime
You
for
should
free.
really have a showing, because I'm pretty sure you
That's
have
true. I should have a Band of Brothers party and have everybody over. I have the box set. and we'll do it. But it's also on Amazon Prime if you want to watch it by yourself. And if you don't live near us, all you people listening, Amazon Prime. All this to say, Neil McDonough played Buck on Band of Brothers, and Donnie Wahlberg, who's in New Kids on the Block, played Lipton on it, Lip. And so, like, seeing, like, Buck in the audience supporting Lip was
it's
just...
like this great circle of life.
It was beautiful. And it was just, like, such a random thing that I happened to, like, catch there. I was like,
well, how could you miss him? I mean, he's so white. Talk about white people. It's like, he's, like, clear, you know?
He is translucent.
He's got, like, white blonde hair. It's like, you're not missing him. And he's got those eyes that you're, like, catching.
He's as white as you can be without being albino.
Yeah. I mean, he's pretty pale.
Yeah, you'd recognize him if you saw him, Amy. I assure you.
You totally would.
He's all over the place, but...
He's in tons of stuff. He's always, he was in Boomtown.
That's a really good reference, because everybody watched Boomtown. This is...
I don't... Maybe people watched it.
This is what Keo always refers to him as Boomtown. He's like, oh yeah, Boomtown. I'm like, nobody saw that. He was in Tin Man, that really weird miniseries with... Yeah, the sci-fi version of Oz.
The sci-fi one with...
Zoe Deschanel.
Yeah, Zoe Deschanel. Did you see that?
No.
Did you see the remake?
This is where it becomes painfully obvious that I haven't seen a lot of things.
That's okay. Both of those things aren't really great things. So
we have a habit of picking out, like, the obscure things. Like, someone is going to be like, he was in blah, 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 blah. That's, like, really obvious and everyone's seen.
Right.
And
which is way better than what we're trying to do. He was also in those commercials for something, like a Super Bowl
car commercial.
But those commercials for something.
Yeah, he was last year he was in, like, one of the, there's always that commercial from the Super Bowl that everyone's like, WTF. Like, this year it was Nationwide killing your children, that whole thing. And last year it was the weird one where Neil McDonough was advertising this luxury car by basically making fun of other countries for, like, not having a sleep while you're dead mentality. And so he's basically like, in, like, France, they may get to sleep and stuff like that, but we get to own this car.
And you're like,
what?
Solid logic.
Yeah, totally. Like, oh, okay, you can work yourself to death, but at the end of it, you get a really cool car to commute in.
Or they can put your body in it.
Yeah, right? Yeah. They can bury you in this car. So take that, France. You really showed them.
Yeah.
So I don't remember what car that was.
Anyway, the point of this is that Neil McDonough is cool.
Yes.
Not judging by these other things.
No, we've done a terrible job.
Brothers. Because then
and not that car commercial.
Yeah, not the car commercial. And apparently not Boomtown. I don't know.
Well, it may have been great. I don't know. I never saw it.
Yeah.
I didn't know it existed till it was over. But yeah, so that was my ridiculous weekend that happened. I was doing that LA life, you guys, grinding.
As you do.
As you do.
I mean, it's kind of nice when someone comes and picks you up. I'd do that LA life too if someone picked me up in a reclining Kia or Hyundai, whatever.
You're so stuck on this Kia thing.
Because I saw the commercial. LeBron's like trying to eat his Fruity Pebbles and the gardener's there. It's loud. So then he tries to lay on the couch to relax, but his phone goes off. And so then he goes and sits in his car where it's quiet and he can recline in the back seat. And it's like big enough for a king because he's like a ginormous man,
How ginormous is he? Is he like Shaq size? Nobody's Shaq size.
No, he's not Shaq size, but he's big. He's probably like 6'6".
And he's kind of like broad
he's
though. Like he's
thick,
got girth. I
He's
wish I hadn't said that.
Wiry.
Sean, don't say anything.
He's not wiry. He's like strong.
It's wiry.
Wiry.
I was in a restaurant recently and they were playing The Replacements on the TV and I was like so distracted. It's like,
see, okay, I went to a bar. There's this like hip bar or whatever in West Side, whatever. They show like Wes Anderson movies on the screen. I'm like, guess what?
That's
bar,
not background music. I mean,
the only reason I'm here is because my friend's band is playing, but otherwise, I hate you. And they have beer that you can't pronounce, and I'm like, I can't even choose any of these. I'm like, what's the closest thing to like a Pacifico that you have on this list? Like,
that's too much work for
give me something
alcohol.
in a bottle. I don't, because then you order it and it tastes like piss. And I'm like, great, now I've got to drink this cup of piss. Thank you. That's exactly what I want to drink.
Wes Anderson plays silently in the background.
Yeah. While I watch Wes Anderson with subtitles.
Yeah.
Shoot me. I cannot think of anything more painful than that.
No, gracias. There is a place right by the comic book shop that plays Looney Tunes while you eat.
See, that's what I'm talking
What
about.
place is that?
Milk and Honey? Does that sound like a place? The tapas place?
Yeah.
Okay.
The tapas bar that I thought they said topless bar.
Every time I say this, everyone always thinks I'm saying topless bar. Like, that's not, no.
And I was like,
I mean
why-
snacks.
I know your shirt pops open a lot, so you obviously go into topless places topless. But
Just makes me feel at home. Makes me feel
know.
comfortable to go to the topless bar. No,
I
tapas.
Tapas.
Spanish things.
it's
not
also
really
hard
Spanish.
with your accent.
I know it is. Yeah, everything's harder with my accent. Let's just embrace that.
That's true.
Anyway, anything interesting happening to you guys lately? I don't want to hog the intro moments. It's
Kind of hard now. I mean, how do you follow Neil McDonough?
I know that is really hard to follow. Just saying. I mean, we can move on. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, I don't have anything remotely as cool. I was kind of sick, so
That's right. Yeah.
that's about it.
You got the flu
Watch
on Mother's
Die Hard.
Day, huh?
Huh?
You got the flu on Mother's Day.
Yeah, or something that made me not feeling hot. But it's okay. Die Hard was on the Encore channel that has no commercials, so I watched that.
Nice. I like that Die Hard was their Mother's Day pick. I feel great about that.
You know, I think they're doing it right.
Yeah. I watched
'Cause
Jaws.
it's a
so-
story about a mother.
I was gonna say I thought Die Hard was a Christmas film.
Yeah, I mean,
It
it's
is, right? It totally is, but
Just for every holiday. Just play Die Hard.
sometimes that's what I think,
Yeah. No,
personally. I mean, but I am biased.
Yeah.
But
It's a movie for every occasion.
movie for all times.
Play it on Thanksgiving. Play it on New Year's.
Yeah. That's basically what Laddie does. So, yeah.
It's true. I play it most of the time.
Much like, as I was saying, I watch Jaws, and I watch that just about all the time as well. So, that's just the way it works. But let's talk about other things that are on the television. On the television. For
Heyo.
example, The Muppets. Dun 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 dun. You even got Muppet arms going. It's like very noodly.
It's good.
It was
That
great.
Kermit thing going on. Like,
Yeah.
My brother thinks that Bing Crosby sounds like Kermit the Frog. So every time my brother sings White Christmas, he like sings it like well, he thinks it's like Kermit, where it's really anyway, it's really funny. So anytime I see Kermit, I'm like, oh, Bing Crosby is gonna sing, White Christmas.
Now I can only hear White Christmas as Kermit right now, and I can't even like make Bing Crosby voice happen in my head. So
Yeah, I mean, it's
For now, we'll say Chad is correct, but I can't.
for now.
I can't vouch. Later on, we might come back and be like,
Yeah. If
Nay,
all of you
sir.
now are listening and wondering why we're getting so weird about the Muppets,
Yes.
the Muppets are coming back to TV.
yes,
Huzzah!
yes.
ABC, NBC. Oh my gosh, I forget.
ABs.
Ding, ding, ding.
Is it that one? You
Sure.
just made that noise.
No, I don't know.
ABC.
ABC, okay.
NBC sounds not the right.
Nope, not the right one.
Yeah.
Ignore
NBC's
the
too
sound I
serious.
just made. I'm just chiming. Okay, ABC. Do they have a
ABC
sound?
is bringing the Muppets back to TV.
Sorry, I was thinking about the ABC sound. That's
Oh.
all.
I wonder if
It's
they have
like
a sound.
wah when it's on Hulu.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, okay, this is getting offhand. Here we go. Muppets are
Muppets.
coming. The Muppets have finally come back to TV, and it's going to be a reality show type status. So, it looks actually pretty funny.
Yeah. It's
Breaking
amazing.
Beaker.
Yeah, what's that?
Yeah.
It's a Breaking Beaker.
Oh my
Yeah.
god. It looks like I'm impressed by the quality of it. Like, I mean, this is kind of the thing with the Muppets in general, is that somehow you always kind of buy them as people,
Yeah.
and so
Like, of course, Kermit's on the 405 driving to work.
right, like it makes perfect sense. I have
Obviously,
no...
he doesn't live in a box, and someone brings him to work. Like,
Yeah.
you have to drive
There's no
there.
hand underneath that anywhere.
Exactly. And that's what's so fun about seeing this. This is like them going about their daily lives, which is what I think we have all assumed the Muppets do. Like in between movies, this is just what they're doing day
Yeah.
to day. And you've got Gonzo as sort of your like voice of reason / goofy thing, but he's the guy pointing out like sort
As
of the
per
meta
Yeah.
commentary and I like they say it's like Muppet Show for adults. Like hasn't the Muppet Show kind of always been for adults?
I don't know. Maybe back in the day.
I guess. I mean, I feel like other than maybe some of the like more kid-centric DVD releases. Like, no, but even then, like, Muppets from Space, like, that's
all
totally...
of the movies and stuff. I mean, I don't know. I still enjoyed them as an adult, so I don't know. But I watched them as a child, so it's hard.
Yeah. I don't know. It just always seems like they were kind of, like, my parents always liked the Muppet Show, the original, you know, the variety style thing, and all the guests. Like, the guests clearly weren't aimed at kids. You had, like, Elton John and Liberace and, like...
and we're like, who was that?
Raquel Welch. Yeah, like, all these people that I'm like, I literally only know they exist because of the Muppet Show.
And I don't even know what they do.
What a way to be recognized.
Yeah, right?
You're on the Muppet Show.
Yeah. Oh, Liberace. He's that guy from the Muppet Show, right?
Yeah. It's like Neil McDonough. He's the guy from Boomtown. You're like, no, he was in other things. We're like, oh, whatever.
I wonder if he's been in a Muppet movie. He seems like he would be, doesn't he?
I feel like if they asked him, he would be in it.
Yeah, he could be like a villainy kind of guy.
I also feel like we're assuming a lot about Neil McDonough right now.
Listen, I think I know.
I mean, you saw him from afar.
We're kind of we're copacetic. We understand each other at this point. We have a thing. Me and Mr. McDonough. I really had to work to fit a lot of syllables into
that was
what
happening.
Mrs. Jones was. I'm excited about it, though. This is one of the more exciting TV developments that we have coming up. I mean, right now we're having a lot of cancellations more than anything else.
True, but
like Mindy.
Well, I don't really want to talk about that.
I know. Is your office like blowing up right now?
Phone is ringing. People keep calling me. You guys, I had like so many voicemails this week, and I was gone for one day.
Gosh.
I was gone for one day on Monday, and you would have thought I'd been gone for a week. So I went back in and I put off voicemails because it's like interacting with people, and lots of times they're angry, and so I didn't want to call them back, which only makes them more angry.
Right, yeah.
And makes them call you again, more upset that you haven't called them back.
Yeah.
So every time my phone rings, my eye kind of twitches, and it's like, you never know what's going to happen. It could be a really nice person. It could be someone who's like, I hate you. And I'm like, I'm sorry.
This is just how I feel about the phone in general.
Yeah, the phone stresses me out.
Yep. Poor Amy called me yesterday.
I've recently been put on calls for Metro. I deliver good news to people that we have their comic books, but like sometimes they just answer the phone like, yeah, and I'm like, hi, I've got comic books for you. Like, please don't be mad. They're like, great.
Yeah, awesome.
And I called Corrigan yesterday, and Mac had literally just done the call before that, and then was like, I'm going to lunch. Here's the phone. and he was still in the store, like, just leaving as I called you. And so I was like, no, it's not Mac. And he was like, no, she actually picked up the phone.
I have literally never answered it, not once. And I looked at the phone, and I was like, I'm totally going to throw him off his game. I'm gonna answer it. So I was like, hey, Mac. And like, Amy's like,
hi.
No.
Sorry.
So that
Sorry
happened.
to disappoint.
No, that's okay. I was not disappointed in getting to talk to you.
If anything, it was probably Mac who was the most disappointed.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and then he called me yesterday, but I was in class to tell me that he's in a comic book.
He is.
Yeah, so...
Simpsons Summer Shindig.
Yeah, you guys check that out. If you look in that comic book and see a guy who looks to you like Mac, it is Mac.
He's got a little bit of a beard.
He's got a little
the photo
stubble.
Was taken.
Yeah,
the photo
early
was
Mac.
taken when he had a beard. But
what Mac looked like in our first couple episodes with him, that's kind of what you got going on in that comic. So check it out, and you can be like, oh my god, I basically know that guy from listening to the Fancave.
He talks about Spider-Man.
And
not much different
Daredevil.
At work either.
Okay, so we're excited about the Muppets. We're also super stoked. Kristen, I feel like this needs to be your announcement. I am not going to step on this.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so this is probably the dream of my life. So I'm really excited about it.
Yep.
And I know I say that about most things that we talk about on the show, but this really is very exciting.
That's very true.
If you haven't heard, Agent Carter has been renewed for season 2. And it's going to be amazing. And I even found this cartoon thing on the oh shoot, someone sent me a text message. I got to click.
On the Twitter?
The Tweety.
Someone posted this picture.
It's so
beautiful. And so I put it on my phone, because look how cool that is. She's all
you guys, it's a drawing. Agent Carter with the shield, the Captain America shield thing going on.
And it's awesome. And it's going to be great. And so what the new news is that she's moving to LA to fight more crime or some big plot, or it's very vague, just that she's going to LA for her new adventure. So I'm personally excited about that because hopefully they'll actually shoot in LA and then maybe we can go see it.
Oh my gosh, can you imagine?
I don't know how you be extras on things, but I want to be an extra in this because not only would you possibly get to meet Haley Atwell, who I like kind of have this weird crush on. I'm like, love her so much. I think she's wonderful. But then you would probably get to get all dressed up like it was old days.
That would be amazing. I've never really had the opportunity to do that. I would just ask, like,
can I please be someone who's wearing a hat in the background?
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Like a hat that covers one eye. Preferably.
Well, yeah, one eye, and I have, like, the curls on this side, and I'm, like, walking through the streets. That's it. I don't even have to... That's it.
Yeah. Whole thing. Whole part.
So if you're listening... extra people. I don't know who you are.
Yeah. Whoever makes extras happen.
Yeah. So this will be exciting. We don't have any other information on other cast members that are joining her. At this point, only Haley Atwell is on board for season 2. So it could be one of those dealios where it's like they start afresh with all new people, or maybe the SSR office gets moved. I don't know if they would move Thompson and Sousa out to LA with her.
I only really care about Sousa, to be honest with you. Like, that's what it comes down to.
I mean, Squinty McSquinterstein.
I love Squinty.
Although he was kind of a D-bag at the end there.
Well, he was a D-bag through the whole thing.
But he had his moments. He had Lucas
but then he
moments.
turned into a D-bag.
Yeah, exactly.
True.
Did you watch Agent Carter, Amy?
Almost all of it. Almost all
You
of
haven't
it.
finished it yet?
I haven't finished it, but that's okay. I've had it spoiled, but I haven't finished watching it.
Oh.
Well, we didn't really spoil anything anyway.
I haven't finished Daredevil because of school. Like, I should just drop out of school and finish my television shows.
Well, you just need to, like, get in that zone where you can work with this stuff on in the background. Like,
but then I'll just stop working so I can watch the stuff.
Yeah, this is why it's helpful. Like, I grade. And so, like, when I'm grading, it's, like, much easier to be like, I can get a little distracted and watch a little Daredevil or whatever.
Okay. Last time I tried to do anything with any of that, like, I was finishing an essay at the comic book store. Like, I had just gotten off my shift and some people were playing Magic the Gathering. I sat down at their table and started typing my essay. I put the word worthy in my essay, and it's not the word I wanted to use, but it's, like, such a Thor word. And the professor circled that and put a question mark by it. And I was actually really ashamed of that because I didn't proofread
That's
the paper. That's
amazing. Yeah.
And so I put the word worthy in my essay, and my professor caught that and didn't like it. So
that's incredible.
I can't get away with that. I'm not talented enough.
Yeah. Or I guess you just need to proofread better is the other end of it. But because I do that all the time. I'm constantly like, I'll be like talking to someone or whatever. That's when it really gets me. If I'm trying to talk to someone and do something, I will write like exactly what they've just said to me down, and I'm like, that wasn't what I was trying to do.
Yeah.
Nope. Did not need that information. So, yeah. But, okay, so you haven't finished Agent Carter or Daredevil. This is unfortunate, but
this is traumatic.
Only 4 more weeks of school.
I'm making such a fool of myself on my first appearance on the Fancave, and this is embarrassing.
It's
all right.
You'll never ask me back.
It's more of just, I feel sad for you. I feel like you really need to finish because then your life will really start.
Yeah.
That's not true.
This when life begins.
It sounds like your life is in TV. You are more than just those things.
I don't know. I was watching all these 80s and 90s TV themes this morning, like cartoon themes, like Ninja Turtles and DuckTales and things like that. And I was like, my life kind of is TV. I never really thought about it before, but I was like, how did I have time to watch all of these? I mean, you're a kid. What else do you have to do, I suppose? But I was like, I apparently just spent my entire life watching TV.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I was outside a lot.
Because you have it used to only be, remember, it was like summer was like dead. You're like, what do I do? I'm finally off of school. And now I don't have anything to do. Like kids these days. I can't believe I just said that. Wow, I'm so old. But they have, I mean, now.
Yeah, they never have to be bored.
Things go in such like cycles. So you not only do you have like Netflix to catch up on if there's nothing else, but then like even there's like shows have only summer series or like when Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was off during the hiatus, I'm like, well, don't be bored because we have Agent Carter. And it's like, that would never happen before. I would just been bored for the 8-week run or whatever.
You have to watch those terrible cartoons like the Bandai ones or whatever that they played on
or
USA.
Have to, like, read or something. I'm like, what? Come on, TV.
Well, that's my thing is I read a lot and I was outside a lot. So I'm like, how did I balance such a full life? But it was probably summer would be my guess. Is that summertime I would just read and go outside and things like that. And then the rest of the year I was like, heck yeah, I'm staying inside and watching cartoons. Not to mention the Saturday morning lineup.
I mean, come on.
Come on.
One Saturday morning.
Oh, yes.
They don't make them like that anymore, you guys.
So anyways, here's my thing. I found an article that was talking about Agent Carter season 2, and I was offended by this because like they said, okay, let me read this to you. This came from Screen Rant. It says, as Comics Alliance points out, seeing characters like Howard Stark and Jarvis on the West Coast would still make a lot of sense depending on the reasoning for Peggy being there. However, people like Agents Thompson and Sousa or Peggy's perky friend Angie are harder to see making the jump, and based on season 1, they honestly don't seem all that crucial to the series. Okay, screw you. Also, hopefully the showrunners are done with the clandestine slinking Peggy had to do last season and can just have her be out in the open with her heroism. The whole outwitting her fellow male SSR agents or swapping indirect girl talk about it with Angie didn't exactly add important dimensions to the character or series beyond on-the-nose pontificating about the sexism of post-World War II American culture. With some new characters and situations and a compelling love interest, Agent Carter might just be all the better. What?
First of all, I think there's a fundamental misunderstanding of what a spy is.
Right? What's with all the slinking
why
around?
Can't the spy just be running headlong into... Oh my goodness.
Why can't you walk into your room and say, excuse me, I'm a spy. I've come to
Agent
spy
Carter
on you.
is here.
Like, yeah, I want a coffee.
I want to pontificate about sexism.
Yeah. Like, what?
Like, oh boy.
Also, I don't understand why her heroism was less heroic because she was being a spy or because she had to do it slinking around or whatever. Like,
yeah, that doesn't
make it not as good.
And that it was any less because she had girl talk with Angie. Like, that's like the myth of the strong female character. Like,
exactly. Multitudes, you guys. Agent Carter contains multitudes. It's just like everything about that just like offends me so deeply. It's like it's saying like, okay, on the nose, like pontificating about sexism in post World War II culture. Do you think like if someone were in this position, they wouldn't constantly have to be like talking about it? Like what, like Bletchley Circle, right? Mm-hmm. Like they're constantly faced with the fact that they live in a world that doesn't accept what they do or did. And, like, there's consequences of it that ring through every single part of their lives. There's no moment where they're not totally aware they are women doing things women aren't supposed to do. So, of course, that's going to be central to Agent Carter. Like, what are they just supposed to, like... It's like color blindness as a thing. Like, you don't just ignore it.
Because now it's not a thing. So let's just make it not a thing then either. Is that it?
And I think it's for people who want to just, like, romanticize the aesthetic of the 1940s and be like, no, there wasn't racism. And suddenly they're like, yeah, there's racism. And it's like, wait, I'm uncomfortable with that idea of the 40s.
Yeah.
So let's make it a non-racist 40s.
Right.
Yeah.
A non-racist, totally egalitarian, you know.
There's that hashtag that went up when they announced it. It's hashtag diversify Agent Carter because a lot of people are calling for the diversification because people have been saying it seems very artificially white. Mm-hmm. And though it focuses on sexism, I'm like, hey, that's not the only issue. But.
Yeah. I mean, and it could use more people of color in it. I think it is...
As all Marvel works.
Yeah, I mean... That's kind of the way that tends to happen. I'm not going to say it's a perfect show or anything, but to sort of, I don't know, this kind of critique of it being like, why is she sneaking around? Why is it all about men not being, like, you know, supportive, blah, blah, blah. It's like, because...
that's her life.
Yeah. Okay, so it's like
we want to make her life something it's not. And like, that takes away from what she accomplished, which is awesome stuff. And it takes away, I think, from who she is as... Yeah, I don't know. Anyway,
so really calm down, Screen Rant.
I liked your comparison with Bletchley. You should add that to your list, Amy, if you haven't watched it.
Should I I feel like I should start writing these things down.
Yeah, just take notes.
You should. This is a good one. Bletchley Circle is about, and we've talked about it on the show before, but real brief. It's about these women who were code breakers during World War II, and then post-war. The show picks up in 1950s London, and there's a serial killer loose, and they're kind of starting to profile him because they think the police are missing something, and the police won't listen to them because they're women, like we've said before. And it's this really great story, and these women characters are awesome, awesome. And exactly what Corey said, they each deal with it in very different ways, and you've seen the sexism play out. And like these four women took 4 very different paths. Anyway, it's just really good. It's really good. So you should watch it.
And it's only 6 episodes total, right? Like,
yeah, there's
three,
only
three and
it's a BBC one, so they're short,
okay.
but long.
Cool.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's really good.
highly recommend. And
but
Agent
anyway,
Carter,
so-
you do you, and like girls are behind it. We are for her dealing with this stuff head on, and also I don't understand the compelling love interest thing because Sousa was a compelling love interest. So
That's what I thought.
yeah, so there's that as well.
So, whatever.
Anyway, whatever
person who wrote that article.
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna say your name.
Yeah, I also don't know what it was.
You're
but-
probably a
Thank
man.
you.
Yeah. You guys, Moone Boy season 3 comes out on Hulu.
Moone Boy, you guys.
This is legitimately my favorite show, like, of the past 15 years. Let's say that. Anything post 90s, this is my favorite show. I'm obsessed with it.
It's amazing and so funny.
yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's so funny.
We've talked about it before briefly, and so it's Chris O'Dowd created this, writes it. He is the imaginary friend of a little boy in Ireland in the late 80s, early 90s. And, you know, he's got like a quirky family, a quirky school, a best friend who also has an imaginary friend who's like a dumpy middle-aged man. And it's just, it's so funny.
It's just my favorite because my favorite thing about it is when he asks his imaginary friend for advice, but obviously his imaginary friend is him.
It's
but for
him,
some reason
yeah.
you think it's an adult, so he's going to give him adult advice.
Yeah.
But
And
when
it's
he
always
doesn't,
bad.
Yeah, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot. Like, clearly that's just him, you
Yeah.
know, so he's giving himself this terrible advice. And it's always just so perfect and so endearing and wonderful, and oh my gosh. And you're right, the cast of characters, his family is so great.
Yeah. The dad is like my favorite thing.
The dad is my favorite because he wants to be so like stern and this like really important, but he's just not. He's just a big softy and wonderful. And anyway,
So you guys, season 3 is now on Hulu, as are 1 and 2. Catch up. These are like the first time I watched season 1, I watched it twice in the same day, the whole season.
they're not long. They're like
they're
half 20-minute episodes.
Yeah, 23 minutes or whatever.
And there's not that
And-
many of them.
Yeah, and so it takes you like 3 or 4 hours to go through them, and so I watched them twice the same day because they're just so good. So that happens today. Watch it. It's gonna be
Happening.
good. Shall we move on to movies?
Let's move on to movies.
Sure.
All right. Crimson Peak.
Dude. Don't give me the heebies, man. I don't know.
Yeah. The last time we talked about this was when we were out at Rogue Machine in Hollywood with John Polono and tried to describe to him what was happening in this trailer. It's Guillermo del Toro. It's Tom Hiddleston.
Okay.
It's one of those really white ginger girls. What's her name?
Mia Wasikowska
Oh, that one. Yeah, and who's the other one?
and Jessica Chastain.
Jessica Chastain. I
And
always
Charlie
think she's
Hunnam.
Bryce Dallas Howard. Oh, yeah, and Charlie Hunnam. Kristen has a little...
You guys,
Mild
it's literally
panic
all
attack.
of my favorite people in one movie.
Yeah.
And Jim Beaver's in it.
I know! Jim Beaver's in it! When I saw that in this, I was
Guys.
like, what? Although he looks
like
like he's
one of
going to
my
get
favorite
super killed.
people
He's
In
going
my
to get...
least favorite type of movie. It's like could not be more of a crushing disappointment.
Yeah.
Like I have to see it.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna hate it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like every like 10 years or so, we need to have like that good, like sort of like gothic horror movie or whatever that comes out that's ghosty and creepy and like there's just like a legacy of these. And I feel like this is gonna be a good one. I'm still not entirely sure exactly what's going on in it.
It's the house is haunted and they've clearly been murdering people or
Yeah.
something. The sister is a creeper. I don't know what her deal is. I think she's definitely behind the murdering.
Right.
I'm not sure if Tom Hiddleston just kind of like goes along with it and if they have some
Yeah.
kind of weird thing going and
I don't know,
don't
man.
know.
But there's lots of things reaching out of like walls and mirrors.
yeah, and there's a lot of those things where she like turns around, there's nothing there, and then she turns back and there's something there, and you're like, "Ugh!"
No.
You know, and she's got those high collars, which I think don't make good for your periph.
That's
So it's
true.
hard
You got to
for
like
her to,
turn your entire body to see what's going
And
on.
at that point, it's like, what if you needed to run this way, but she's got to turn to look and then turn back? Where
Too
if she
late.
had the Vin Diesel head turned down, she
Yeah,
could
that's true.
look and then run.
That's a very good point. He should teach her some pointers. I want to see Vin Diesel do the Vin Diesel turn in a Victorian collar.
He can't do it. It's just it's physically impossible. Also, he should be in it because he's the last witch hunter. He should show up at the end and be like, "What up, witch?
What up, witches?" I think that would be amazing. Hollywood, why don't you listen to us?
Amy, are you a big horror person?
No.
Yeah.
It's just me.
Do you watch them like this?
If I watch them at all. Or I'll like have my phone so I can just kind of pretend I'm not and then look up for something and be like, oh no.
And all your phone has is puppies on it?
Yeah. Or I'm looking up like the spoilers and still getting scared by them.
Like I'm totally going to be ready for it.
I had a hard time watching 28 Days Later.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Well, that does have moments. Zombies. Oh, see, I don't do zombies. That's my one horror thing I don't... Well, zombies and vampires I don't like.
I'm nonplussed by vampires, but I really like zombies.
I have a thing about... I don't like gore. That's the problem. I love horror, but I hate gore. Oh, okay. And I have a thing about necks and wrists. Yeah. And so zombies and...
Because they always bite you on the wrist.
Yeah,
like
and vampires. Yeah. They always bite your wrist.
Oh, and there's that beautiful teeth mark thing. And
no.
It's black and, you know, like... gross. I don't know.
And like
I know
zombies
that zombie
have
didn't
this,
wash his teeth.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you know, you're like, what kind of bacteria is rolling around in there?
Yeah, and they're always pulling things out.
And they're hacking that arm off.
Gross, man.
But gross. I'm not a horror person. Like that stuff will get me, and I will be unable to sleep with the lights off for like another 6 months. Like I still have that problem sometimes. Five Nights at Freddy's, that kind of thing. Like that, I couldn't sleep with the lights off for like a week. Can't sleep, clown will eat me.
Yeah, exactly. This is like it's my background thing though. A lot of times, like when I'm not binge watching Daredevil or something like that, I'll put on like horror movies as the background while I grade and stuff like that, and that's what
you are brave.
I just had like older brothers who had me watching them at a very very early age, so you know I was just doomed from the start. And I grew up in front of a graveyard, so that reminds me. I asked in honor of Crimson Peak on Facebook. I asked people what some of the scariest things that have ever happened to them were, and got a few interesting responses.
I read the Ouija board one.
I know.
One creeped me the F out.
Yeah. So Erin Riggs said that her and a friend played with a Ouija board and tried to contact a friend of hers and an uncle. And she said that the friend told her why she committed suicide and gave her dad's phone number to call and tell him. And that the uncle said where and why he was murdered. And the next day, the blinds in her room started swinging and the window was closed. And they thought it was the cat, but then the cat walked into the room and they were like, what? So that's a good creepy one, Erin. We have some near-death experiences. We have Phil Hughes said this is like straight up out of like an action movie. He was driving in the mountains of Colorado and a truck loaded with watermelons came around a corner too fast and it overturned and slid towards Phil's car and flung watermelons all over the road. Which is, that sounds like something out of, like, The Hangover or something like that. So he swerved off the road to the inside of the curve and barely missed the truck, watched it slide by, realized it wasn't going to stop before going over the edge. And it went over the edge. So they went over, and the truck came to rest on the side against some trees on the side of the mountain. The fuel tank had ruptured, and fuel was cascading down the side of the truck, and the engine was still running. He said, climbing down to that truck to turn off the engine and help the driver while I had visions of cars exploding every time that kind of thing happens in the movies was definitely the scariest thing of my life.
Oh, my Lord.
Yes, definitely. And another driving one was that Eric Nichols says hydroplaning nearly off of bridge with his brother while they were storm chasing or storm spotting was amongst...
That's a thing that you do.
I would not do that. Cameron Lewis, he said he was swimming in a river when a tree that was laying under the water hooked me and the current pulled me under. Had to hulk out of my shoes via an adrenaline boost to save my life. Oof. Good gravy. I've been there. Near drowning is not fun.
No. I would think not.
This is from my friend Willie. This is written all in caps. This is the story of a day where there was all this blood. A man was walking around, and blood started coming out of him everywhere. There was so much blood that it filled up an elevator. He went to the store, and there was just blood all over the place. People were slipping in it, and they were all grossed out. He tried to go swimming, and all the sharks went nuts and bitten everybody. He got chased by all the vampires ever. One time the blood got a kid and a dog. At the end of the day, everyone decided they would send him to space so that he would stop getting blood everywhere. The scariest part is, that man was you! Or he was a lady if you are a lady, and you forgot that this happened.
Whoa,
Willie,
what a trip.
You're right, I did forget that happened.
I did forget. That was almost like that moth joke I heard earlier. I thought, where's the end of the story coming from?
Right? Oh, man. Willie's one of the funniest people on the planet. We should have him on sometime. But those were some good, terrifying moments.
Yeah.
I can't outdo any of those. Oh, and Duncan just said basically the scariest thing he could say that wasn't a bummer to tell us was that he freaked out seeing Jurassic Park because he was sure that a kid's leg was going to get bitten off. And he screamed in the theater. Which I think is awesome, personally.
Yeah. That's funny.
That's me, like, every time. I go to see horror movies by myself a lot, and so a lot of times I'll be the only person, like, in the theater, period, and that'll be me, like, on edge, just, like, screaming in the theater. Like,
yeah.
Nobody saw.
And then that hand comes out from underneath your seat, and it's like...
Right, exactly. Dun, 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 dun. I don't know. Do you guys have any...
If it's saying that, it wouldn't be as scary.
The music would initially startle me.
If Mia Wachowski was sleeping and that hand came over and that was the soundtrack, I'd be like, and she like wakes up and her shoulder starts doing the... I'm like, okay, I can get behind this movie.
Now Kristen's in.
Hiddles comes in and starts doing his awesome dance moves. I'm like,
we're gonna make a special Kristen cut. It's just like the whole movie, but with like the Thriller soundtrack and like the Monster Mash, things like that.
Intermixed with Tom Hiddleston and Charlie Hunnam doing some kind of dance off.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be.
I can dig it.
Yeah, I totally dig it. Can you dig it? We can dig it. Okay. Gem and the Holograms.
You know, I never watched this, so I didn't really know what everyone was up in arms about.
This is terrible.
Okay.
I mean, like, you can watch the trailer and realize this just looks like a bad movie, right?
Well, yeah, but I mean, people were it's like hurt their soul that this movie was happening, and for me, I was like, it doesn't, I mean, I'm not going to see it because it doesn't look great, but I also, it's not like killing my childhood by any means, so I didn't feel apt enough to speak on it, because I'm like, I don't care a whole lot about it. Mm-hmm. It's just, like, for me, it just would have been a trailer I watched and was like, eh.
Yeah, right. I will not be seeing that, but Amy, had you seen the original or have any feelings about this trailer?
I haven't seen the original, but I have a lot of friends who are very invested in the success of, like, just the characters, and they are all extremely disappointed.
Yes,
I watched it, and it kind of just looked like one of those, like, Nickelodeon movies where it's like,
there's nothing...
gonna become rock stars, and I'm like...
Yeah, there's nothing to distinguish this from the wave of the past decade or so. Basically, since Hannah Montana, all shows on Nickelodeon and Disney are about, like, kids getting famous, you know? And it's what... Okay, that most kids watching stuff are never going to get famous. What else can we give them, you know? And this, I mean... It's such a disservice to what the actual sort of source material is, where, like, Jem is, like in this, she's being manipulated, essentially, into, like, leaving her friends, and changing her name and all that, and in the original, she's, like, this super badass record label owner who also has superpowers, and, like, the holograms are generated by her earrings, and, like, do cool things, and do the special effects for their shows, and they have, like, all these, like, they have, like, two rival bands that they are sort of, like, fighting against in it, and, like, there's all this agency, and they've basically just, like, turned this into, like, Hannah Montana. Like, not even Hannah Montana. It's not even that cool.
And, like, I think it's IDW, just recently, started publishing a new Gem and the Holograms comic book series, and it looks, that's, like, the original characters and stuff, so I'm like, is this working in tandem with this film that clearly has nothing to do with that?
No relation to it whatsoever. It's just, it's disappointing that you take down like a cartoon series that was all about like a kick-ass female who's so in control of her world and everything in it, and turn it into a story about a teenager being manipulated by people. Like, oh, that's the story we need right now. That's what we're looking for in 2015.
Never been done before.
Yeah, come on. Ugh, I'm just so frustrated by it, you know? And like, the fact that the end of the trailer is just, like, a One Direction song. Like, and don't get me wrong, I love One Direction. But, like, they're, like, these cool punk girls, and it just doesn't make sense. I don't know. Not into it. Not into it.
Wah, wah.
Wah, wah. And Juliette Lewis, stop ruining everything. What is happening with her right now? She's like...
She ruined something else?
Well, she's on that Secrets and Lies show with Ryan Phillippe. And
I watched that.
I watched the whole thing. I actually quite enjoyed it, but Juliette Lewis was terrible. Like, so bad. So bad in it. And now she's in that Wayward Pines show, and I'm not sold, but maybe it's because I have the bad taste in my mouth from Secrets and Lies. But I don't know. It's just, now she's in this, and I'm like, what is going on? You've lost your edge, Juliette.
She's Lucas Blacking these movies,
She's Lucas Blacking, big times. Ugh! Not okay. Not okay. And then the other trailer we had was Pixels, which is also nostalgia related.
Okay, so I'd heard the name, but I didn't know anything about it. And then my friend Ed had posted on, I think, a link from the last show we did. He's like, you should talk about this movie. And I was like, okay, I'll watch the trailer. It's like, really bad. Like, they have to know. Right?
Yeah, like, I mean, I feel like it's gotta be like...
For? Like,
well, that's my question, because it's like 80s nostalgia. I feel like they're trying to beat Ready Player One to the theater, for one thing. Like, they're like, okay, 80s nostalgia is the thing.
Okay,
they're coming out with a
video
video game
I didn't even like Ready Player
movie.
One, but come on.
And then, so, like, although I will say it looked really cool when Pac-Man, like, ate that truck or whatever. I was like, that's pretty rad looking.
Okay.
But it's like, yeah, who is the audience? Because it's like, okay, it's the nostalgia of, like, people who are in their, like...
Pac-Man.
Yeah, like, largely 30s and 40s, right? But it doesn't, like, but it's like a kid's movie, but it's, like, Peter Dinklage and Adam Sandler.
And why is Peter Dinklage in this? Is he, like, Game of Thrones, like, really hurting his soul because it's, like, serious and people die, so he needed something light?
Yeah.
So he did this movie, because I'm like, he can be in anything he wants to be in
really
now.
can.
Like, he's made it now, right? I mean, is that too soon to say? I feel like
he's definitely
made it. I mean, people want him in things, and this is...
Yeah.
Does he have kids? I feel like a lot of people do things when they have kids.
He does have kids, yes.
Maybe that's why.
I say, you know, a lot of celebrities, they want to make something their kids can watch. And when you're in Game of Thrones...
That's true. Your kids aren't going to watch
What are you gonna do? It's just like, I don't know what to make of, like... And the premise of this is basically that, like, so we sent a time capsule... to space, and it had, like, you know, as an offering of peace, like, cool video games from the time and stuff like that, and the aliens took that as, like, a threat, and so they created their own versions of the video game, like, villains or whatever, and sent them down to Earth. Just, like...
Which I don't even understand why they would do that. Why don't they just send their own weapons?
Yeah, make your own. Like, why would you, like, make something stronger, not make the same thing you think Earth has?
And something that we could clearly beat, because we know something about it. If you send us, like...
Because we have all the cheat codes.
Yeah, right?
Exactly. Because all the 30-year-olds like, man, hold on. Yeah, you're just going to have to do, like, X, Y,
IDKFA, you know?
Just get to the kill screen on Pac-Man and there's nothing more.
And so it's, like, the most bizarro thing. And I'm watching it thinking, like, what's happening?
Yeah.
Anyway, it was really weird. That one just was more of, like, and it doesn't
I'll just
compute.
go rewatch Wreck-It Ralph if I want to watch
Right,
video game characters.
exactly. That's wait for Ready Player One and go watch Wreck-It Ralph in the meantime.
There you go.
And I think you've probably done better. The effects are cool. I will give it that. I think the effects look great in it. Like, if you're gonna update it, like, use 80s games in an action disaster movie. I think they did a good job with it, but the movie just looks ridiculous.
Yeah.
I can't with it. But this weekend, we should just remind you,
weekend.
there are 2 movies coming out. One's very pertinent to the Fan Cave, but first, Mad Max is coming out. The ratings on it so far are amazing. People
I read a
love
review
it.
that it's like getting hit in the face with a truck. But they
In a
meant
good
it in
way.
a good way, so I'm not quite sure what that means.
Yeah. No, I feel
In the best way possible. It's like
Yeah.
getting hit in the face with a truck.
exactly. So I'm
know, I'm like,
stoked on
okay.
that. I wish we
Anyway.
had good theaters to see it in here because, it feels like the kind of thing you should see in like the super 3D IMAX
I'm
experience.
going to see it in
but-
just a regular boring theater.
Yeah, well, we will too because that's all we have here. But that looks amazing, and men's rights activists hate it, so it's going to be awesome. I'm super stoked on that.
It's rights activists?
Yeah.
Mad Max?
Yeah, because it's all
Because
like
Charlize
pro
Theron has a
women.
metal arm?
Well, apparently it's like a really pro women movie, and so they're like, "F this."
That's just so funny to me.
I know, it's ridiculous. Read some of the articles about it. Like, just Google it, and
their whole
it's
deal
funny.
is ridiculous, but that just
Yeah,
cracks me up.
yeah.
I'm
The
like,
critiques of it are so funny. You just have to check them out. And then this is pertinent for next week's Fan Cave episode. Pitch Perfect 2 comes out this week,
heyo.
and in honor of that, we're going to have a female friendship episode.
I thought you were going to
Fan
say you were
Cave.
going to do it all in acapella. Darn.
Oh
Now
man,
it's
yeah.
bad.
Nobody
I
wants
can't
to hear
even-
that.
Yeah.
It's,
Maybe Corey can sing.
I don't know about not like that. That's not a thing.
Yeah.
You can beatbox.
Yeah, exactly.
Someone
This
provides the vocals. And
Yeah, it'll be great. We should do that. But so we're gonna see it, and then we're gonna come together next week and talk with our dear friend Alexandra Blakey and hopefully our friend Kelly Mount about that movie as well as other movies that celebrate girls being friends with each other.
Yay!
Yeah. So if you have like a favorite movie like that, you go on ahead and tell us, and we'll be sure to discuss it. Go ahead. You can write us a post on the Facebook, the Electric Fan Cave Facebook, or tweet us and whatnot. Tell us why you like it, what's so cool about it. And this is open to men and women because we reject the idea that dudes don't watch movies with girls in them. So, tell us about your favorite chick flicks, full of chicks who are friends with one another.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll discuss it next week. But
will.
we're super excited for Pitch Perfect 2.
Heyo.
Amy,
Speaking of cool chicks.
cool chicks.
all right.
Tell us about Thor. What do we need to know first in order to even have context for female Thor and her taking on this mantle and all of this?
Oh, goodness. Finally, my time to shine, and I'm like, I know this, and now I've got my hammer right here.
Oh, hey!
She's throwing it down.
So,
Is that from the store? Or did you
let
make
me
that?
see. Huh?
Is that from the
I
store?
made
Did you
this.
Okay.
Oh.
Nice.
Hence, it's all broken in the front, because I smashed it.
Oh, I thought that was
Um,
just supposed to make it look like authentic, like a hammer
That
that's been used.
too.
Yeah.
Bad craftsmanship. Anyways, let's see. Well, this, for people who have been living under a rock since, like, last July, Marvel was teasing that they would do a thunderous announcement on The View of all platforms to release Marvel news. That was the only time I've ever watched The View, just to see what this was about. And so the writer Jason Aaron, who's been doing the Thor series for a couple of years now, was like, hey, we're shaking things up, and there's going to be a new woman who has the hammer. It's not like they gender bent the new Thor, because a lot of people were like, what the hell? Like, I know Loki can change forms, but not
Right.
Thor. So this is a different woman entirely. And it was set up in the series Original Sin, which was also written by Jason Aaron. So, like, he had a huge hand in, like, hey, guys, I'm going to change everything. So in Original Sin, the old person who was known as Thor, the old male Thor, lost his hammer. He lost the ability to hold his hammer because
Is
of
he not
something
worthy
that
anymore?
actually they haven't revealed,
Oh.
like, why.
Okay.
All that was shown was that Nick Fury, the old white Nick Fury, had committed the original sin kind of thing that was in the event. He killed the Watcher, who watches over the entire Marvel Universe, and he stole all his secrets.
Oh my
And then he
goodness.
told a secret to Thor, and immediately upon hearing that secret, Thor like couldn't pick up the hammer anymore. Like he was holding it and he dropped it. It just like dropped. And so nobody knows actually what that is, and unfortunately the latest issue didn't answer that question, so people are going to have to keep reading if they want to find out.
And what we've been waiting for is finding out who this is. Now, how, in leading up to this, why haven't we known who she is?
We haven't known. Well, she's been trying to protect her identity. Actually, a lot of that comes to light once you find out who she is and why she's trying to protect her identity, but I mean, people, just by the backlash on the internet after people announced that there was a female Thor, everybody hated it. Like, what the hell? Like, you can't ruin our favorite masculine sex symbol hero. So, I mean, it makes sense that she would hide her identity in the comics universe because it's an unpopular choice. The whole latter half of the series is about people who want to kill her because of this. But yeah, so they kept it a secret also because it leads up to Secret Wars, which is the new comic event that I can't even begin to understand. But in it, there's going to be a series of every Thor from every universe, written by Jason Aaron.
Okay.
So there's that.
Wait, all at the same time?
Yes, every Thor from every universe, because the premise of Secret Wars is that like every universe is smashing together, and there's a lot of universes, I guess. Yeah. So
okay,
I mean, there has to be.
My personal favorites include there a long time ago in the 70s they did a couple of what if comics. There's like total alternate universe. This never happened, but it could have.
Right.
So Jane Foster was the only Thor that had ever. She found the hammer first in the original story, and so that Thor is going to be there in the universe where the male Thor never existed. There's a frog Thor. He's the frog of thunder.
Of course, why not?
And there's a dog Thor. I don't know who he is, actually.
Okay.
There's some aliens who've held the hammer of Thor. Storm from the X-Men had the hammer. And then the newest edition, I think, is Groot. Groot gets the hammer somehow, so he's going to be in.
Of course Groot would be able to wield that hammer. Of course.
So all those Thors are going to be on a police team together, and they're going to solve mysteries. They're going to go to the bar. Like, I'm actually really excited about it.
Wait, go to the bar, like a drinking bar, or is this like a... Or
like cardio bar classes? That's
no. It's like a Thor cop drinking bar, and apparently they're going to have like a police commissioner and stuff. But the newest Thor gets to join in all that fun as well.
When do we get to see that? When does that come out?
That comes out next month. It starts in June because just today was the release of issue number 8 for the female Thor series.
Okay.
So
and
next month.
let's go ahead and spoil it for everybody.
Okay, if anyone,
it's coming.
I was gonna say if anyone wants to get out now before I spoil it,
tell us who she is and what's her significance.
The official reveal is it is Jane Foster.
Oh.
So now there's 2 Jane Foster Thors.
Okay.
I'm actually super pumped. But I've been talking about it since July. I was like,
is this who you predicted?
That's who I predicted.
Okay.
I put every word or like essay that I've ever written about why it should be Jane and like what I thought into a Word document last night, and it was 20,588 words.
Wow, that is a quarter of a book right there. Almost half a book.
I haven't even done that many words in essays this year.
Right.
So, but there's a couple things you need to know about Jane before any of this starts to make sense. In 2013, Jason Aaron was writing the Thor God of Thunder series, which was the one that directly preceded Original Sin and then the Thor series. And Jane made her first appearance about halfway through the series, and she had been somehow off-screen diagnosed with breast cancer. And so Thor comes back and is not happy. He's like, oh my god, like, they're not dating anymore, but he's like, this woman I really care about is only human, really.
Right.
And so he's like, let me heal you and like take you to Asgard and we've got magic. And she's like, chill out, Thor, like, because this is a thing that women have to deal with sometimes. And so I'd rather put my faith in earth medicine because she's a doctor.
Right. And
so Thor's like, okay, that kind of sucks, but like, let me take you to the moon as one last kind of date. And Jane
you want the moon? I'll put a lasso around.
Jane is actually dating a real estate salesman named Walter, named after Walter Simonson. And she goes, hey, Walter, like, Thor just showed up on the doorstep. He wants to take me to the moon. Her boyfriend's not happy, but, like, they're
But it's the moon.
Yeah, it's the moon. And
she's got
like,
breast
I wish
cancer.
Thor would take me to the moon.
Yeah.
yeah, like, take me away. Like,
to the
I
moon,
wouldn't even
Jane.
tell
Yeah.
But this establishes a big plot point that there's a space on the moon where people can breathe, and it's called the blue area. And so a lot of actual Marvel stuff, when they go to the moon, like, it takes place there because people don't have to wear spacesuits for any reason. So it's just Thor and Jane chilling on the moon. So we don't see her again till the end of the series. But in the meantime, there's a woman introduced named Roz Solomon, and she works for S.H.I.E.L.D., and Thor kind of thinks she's cute. And so, like, they go together for a little while. And so we see Jane in issue 24, and the big battle that has just taken place, like, destroyed her entire city. And so she's like, I've got nowhere to live. Also, I broke up with my boyfriend because he was just kind of not for me.
Because I dated Thor and nobody compares.
Yeah, I mean, like, where are you going to go after that? You're going to date a real estate salesman? Come on.
Nope.
And there's no more real estate in Oklahoma, so she's
he's out of work.
That one real fast.
Yeah.
So he says, hey, I know you're still sick, and I know you don't want any magic, but I think it'd be really cool if you came to live with me on Asgard, and you can act as the representative for Earth in this little Congress of Worlds where each of the, I guess now 10 realms of Norse mythology, there's like a 10th one they added, each one has a representative. And so he's like, come with me to Asgard because I destroyed your home. And he's like, I promise I won't bother you with the magic stuff anymore. And she goes, okay, like, I'll do it. So she goes up to Asgard. And then issue number 25 is the introduction of the new female Thor, and they find like a book with her story in it in the far future, and blah blah blah. So a lot of people missed that because she was only in 2 issues.
I was gonna say, that feels like, I mean, when you explain it that way, it feels like that should be obvious, but obviously you were looking for it.
Yeah, I only read about half the series because some of the storylines disinterested me. They did a Malekith thing to tie in with Thor the Dark World, but I was really like, Jane's my girl, and I gotta see what she's doing. And I was afraid Jason Aaron was gonna kill her. You don't introduce someone with cancer and then, like, not do something terrible to them. Right. So I was really afraid. And so we don't see Jane again in the Thor series, the new one, until issue number 6. And she's still sick, and she's actually getting worse. And so, it's really sad.
So you see her getting sick and getting worse, but also while female Thor exists and is doing things.
Yes. And so the first issue of the series is mostly about the dude Thor and how he lost the hammer and is, like, really sad about it. And he's like, I still want to be a hero. So he rides off to Earth on his flying magical goats. Because he's got those. And Malekith is back as the big bad guy. And he's making deals with an oil company who is also a big bad guy because their CEO is, like, a minotaur.
As if, like, oil companies aren't bad enough.
I love how you hesitated, the
more I explain this, the weirder it sounds. I'm just like, this is what I've invested, like, the last year of my life in. And now it sounds really weird saying it out loud. So then the new woman picks up the hammer, and she does it in secret, and the hammer's on the moon, and so nobody knows who she is, and then there's, like, 4 issues of fighting, and then the old male Thor is like, woman stole my hammer, like, I gotta go to war with her, and then he kind of gets over it once he sees, like, she's more powerful, and she's not the reason he's unworthy, so he's like, okay, sorry for, like, trying to beat you up. So then everybody's in a flurry, like, who is this woman? Because the hammer's missing, and there's somebody calling herself Thor. Well, actually, she doesn't call herself Thor. He gives the name to her. He's like, you are Thor now. So...
And what do you call him now?
He goes by the Odinson or Prince Odinson.
Oh, that was a good question. Yeah.
I like to call him Dude Thor just to get people mad because people are like, there's only one Thor. And I'm like, no, there's not. There's a billion Thors.
Yeah.
So
know your multiverse.
Yeah. Oh, boy. So then, so issue 6, we see Jane again, and so Odinson has a list now of ladies he thinks it is, and Roz is on the list, Jane, his mother, Sif, Loki's on the list.
Just in case, is shifting around.
You should just add Loki to all of your bad guy lists, or whatever.
There's a good chance this might be Loki. Let's just not rule him out.
I mean, yeah, there was a chance. I'm glad it wasn't Loki.
Yeah.
So he sees her, and she's actually reading Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. It's really cute.
Yes.
And so everybody's like, Thor, your not girlfriend is like really sick. And so he's like, shit, I gotta pay a visit to her. And so he's like, what's up? And she's like, I'm not doing too great, but like, it's okay. It'll be okay. Like, I promise it'll be okay. And he's like, I don't believe you. So he crosses her name off the list just because he thinks she's too sick.
Yeah.
And then he goes on this whole adventure to look for all the other women, and like he starts interrogating them, and he's really bad at it. And so we get to and there's alternating scenes of female Thor and then male Thor. And so female Thor shows up for this big old battle with the dark elf Malekith and then the oil company. But in the middle of it, the Destroyer, which is that giant metal monster from the first Thor movie,
right.
He shows up, and you find out he's being possessed by Odin and like Odin's brother, and they're like working to possess this giant robot because they want to kill her.
Okay.
As you do.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
And so they have a big fight to the death, and male Thor sees this, and he's like, she's not going to survive this, whoever she is. So he gets every woman on his list that he can find to fight, and he can't find
Awesome.
can't find Roz, and he doesn't ask Jane because obviously he's not going to be like,
she's busy
hey,
dying. Yeah.
You wanna fight a giant metal robot? So you get to the 7th issue, and you're like, oh boy, there's only 2 people left it could be, and it's either the new girlfriend or the old girlfriend. Oh, that sounds terrible for me to just call them. They're great. They are great characters. And Roz was original to Jason Aaron's stuff. So, like, if you didn't read Thor: God of Thunder, you don't know who she is. So today was the big reveal, and so everybody's fighting. And at the end of the battle, they're all happy. They win. All the ladies go off, and so the 2 Thors are left together. And he's like, I know who you are. And she's like, really? Like, because I tried to keep it a secret. And then Roz shows up.
And he's like,
lady, you almost got me killed. She was like, I was doing some non-obvious spying. I was sneaking around. And so she was like, but when you showed up on the island, like, everybody pulled out guns and started to try to shoot everybody. So then Odinson's really confused because he's like, well, obviously Jane isn't this new Thor because she's too sick, and this is the last woman on my list I couldn't find, so I don't know who she is. Like, he's really not smart about this. So then the new Thor leaves, and you find out she has to stay in hiding because if people knew, and so she throws the hammer away, and it flies off into space and then like comes back whenever she needs it, which is really cool. But when she drops the hammer, she turns back to normal, and you see and apparently. Her last line is, I'm Dr. Jane Foster, and I will not stop being the mighty Thor, even though it's killing me. And so you find out that the come down from being Thor is so draining. It's making her cancer worse. It's not like a lot of people are like, the hammer's giving her cancer, and I'm like, no, that's not how it works. But it's such a come down that she has to balance because her whole thing is the world needs a Thor who is worthy, because the hammer can't just be sitting there because nobody else can pick it up.
Yeah.
And who is humble and knows how fragile human life is, and who better than the doctor who herself is dying. So she's making this like really selfless sacrifice, and the hammer probably knows she wouldn't use it for selfish reasons. Like, she doesn't want to be healed. Yeah. So she's obviously not just taking the hammer to make herself better. She's taking it to protect human life with her last bit of strength, and I think that's really cool.
That is super cool.
I think it's so important.
Yeah. I mean, and that sounds in a way that I haven't read any of the comics of Thor ever. Like, never read a Thor comic.
Really?
And so, but this arc actually, sounds like something I would be really interested in. Like,
it's
listening to it that
phenomenal.
way. Phenomenal. And is it? When does it get turned into a trade paperback that?
Today, the first 5 issues are already out in hardcover today, and then next month, Thor's #1 will come out, and the hardcover with issues 6 through 8 and the annual will come out, because they did a Thor annual, and that was pretty cute.
Okay, cool. So, if that intrigued you, as it did me, you can definitely pick this up now in hardcover, because I'm curious to see how this plays out now. So, I mean, obviously I can just ask you every time an issue comes out, but, you know.
But then you'll get another, what was that, like a 20-minute explanation? I'm so sorry.
No, that's okay.
I'm sorry. I'm not sorry, because I was like, so
Yeah,
like, is it
so how is it working? How can she do it?
How can she do
Yeah.
both
But, like,
things? I love that. Was
even-
awesome.
And it's so funny because I can't convey this over the video. I mean, I can show you my phone screen, like if we're showing phone screens. This is the cover
Nice.
of the 8th issue. She's like taking off the helmet.
Yeah.
The artwork. This is the artist's first Marvel comic series. His name is Russell Dodderman, and he is phenomenal. Like the artwork is so cool. I mean, like also the design on this shirt that I'm wearing is the Russell Dodderman artwork, and he's so nice, and I met him by accident. Like he came to Metro and was really cool about the fact that I almost started crying in front of him.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, so the artwork's phenomenal. The writing is so strong. Jason Aaron's been doing Thor stuff for almost 2 years for sure, almost 3 years, and we're gonna get a whole lot more Thor from him. And he's like a modern day like Walt Simonson.
All right.
Now, Walt Simonson, for people who haven't read Thor, like he was the one who was really credited with bringing Thor to like importance.
Right. Yeah.
So I mean, my succinct summary of the new Thor, it's the woman who began life in the comics as a nurse. She's now a doctor, and she began as a love interest, and now she's the hero. Like
That's awesome.
it's I don't know what
Multitudes,
not to
people.
love.
Multitudes. Yes.
Yes.
Love it. Well, thank you for that, Amy. I
Yes, you're
appreciate
welcome.
that.
I hope that was not too tough to follow.
No, I think it was
I
great.
was following. I was
I was
tracking.
following along. All right.
Good.
Well then, with all of that, I think we had a good time. Did you guys have a good time?
I would get a great
Yeah.
time.
I have a great list of things that I should probably go educate myself on now. that
Exactly. That's what we do here in the Fan Cave.
Yeah.
We either educate or get things
Some of them are
completely
not
wrong.
Super. Like,
There's no in between.
clearly, go watch Boomtown if you're gonna do anything.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Number
So I
one on
can,
your list.
Quote
Boomtown.
it at people.
Yeah. So thank you guys for listening to Electric Fan Cave, episode 63. We just keep on keeping on. Next week, make sure that you tune in for the female friendship episode. We're so excited to talk about this, you guys. This is a thing we're passionate about. Look at us. We're 3 friends, females here, hanging. This is what we love.
Better than this.
Yeah, right? You know? So make sure you tune in for that. It's going to be a grand old time. See Pitch Perfect so you'll know more about what we're talking about. But don't worry, we won't spoil anything. I don't know how much you spoil Pitch Perfect, but... and you can check us out on iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Look up Electric Fan Cave on all those things. Subscribe, follow, whatever the thing that network tells you to do it. You can talk to us on there. I'm thinking we'll do a question of the week now. Because it's fun to see you guys answer them. So make sure you answer our questions of the week when we put out a call for them from this point forward. Have I hit everything, Laddie?
yes,
All right. Then for the Fan Cave this week, I'm Corrigan Vaughn.
I'm Kristen Lotterell.
I'm Amy Chase. I've got more than one name. I'm Amy Chase.
Peace out, everybody.
Take care.
It's another action-packed episode of the Fan Cave. Fan Cave? Nope.
Whoa.
Mm. Okay.
Rewind. I don't know why I did that. Okay, go.
Okay. So glad you're here. Let's get... God damn it.
You were doing so well for like 3 weeks.
I know, I was, and I've worn it out.